All your games. You know the name. You know the game. Game Informer. 356 June 23. Final Fantasy 16. Yes, sir. Covered all of these guys. Happy to say that. Right. Alright, mascots and mayhem. There was a guy wearing a 35-pound Yoshi suit that turned into a 200-pound Yoshi suit in the pool for this commercial. The guy started drowning. See him? Kind of looks like Jason David Frank, RIP Green Ranger. Yeah, and then right here we got a Banjo-Kazooie. This guy was jumping out of a plane with the weight of the foam. He could have paralyzed the stuntman. And this one has 5 million views to this day on YouTube. And this Happy Together commercial for Smash Brothers. Sure, if you're in my age bracket, you remember this. And N64, they had Mario, Yoshi, Donkey Kong, Pikachu beating up each other for the Smash Brothers commercial. Good stuff back in the gap. All right, moving along. We have Final Fantasy Worlds. Each Final Fantasy installment carries over some critical elements, but transplants them into a vibrant and memorable new fictional setting. Here are some of their favorites. All right, number 1, from the tropical beaches of Besaid to the mysterious ruins of Xanacard, Spira was a breathtaking setting that leaned into the dreamlike nature of Final Fantasy X storytelling, and was seemingly inspired in part by Southeast Asian island geography. The vibrant colors and outfits added to the sense of mystical and magical world, welcoming players to a totally new Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy VII, the environmental themes of Final Fantasy VII were rooted in the juxtaposition of Midgard's oppressive smoke and metal and the surrounding green and beautiful countryside of Gaia. And upon the game's initial release, the futuristic and modern elements were a significant departure from the series, but helped to chart a course for the franchise's future, proudly declaring that the fantasy could transport players to all sorts of imagined places and times. Right. Moving along. Here we got GameStop portable charging TV cast and dock station. Got a Pikachu Pop, 13 bucks. Got Earth, the board game. Here, this is real good. Haven't played it yet. Composting stuff. This Tableau engine building board game is a fascinating departure from expectations. Players work to grow an ecosystem through an overwhelming variety of hundreds of included cards, gradually seeing the way that each plant and element of nature feeds on and interacts with each other. Beyond some clear environmental themes, Earth is just plain fun, with relatively simple rules but so many options that understanding and forming a coherent strategy will take time. If that sort of complexity appeals, rooted in a focus on natural beauty, then this one could be a winner at your table. $50 inside of games. Yeah, I mean, ever since Terraforming Mars, these games have been the bee's knees. All right, we got Lord of the Rings, Lego, Rivendell, $500. That's out of control, but I'm sure it's pretty big. All right, and we got Mist over Carcassonne. Carcassonne, always good. One of the most popular and enduring thematic board games of all time is given new life in this cooperative twist on the familiar Carcassonne formula. The tile laying fundamentals echo the original game, but in this version, players must work together to manage the spreads of ghosts across the countryside and village. Fantastic landscape art and dozens of tiny meeples help the game look great on the table. This new take on the classic maintains the simple to learn but hard to master elements that have kept the original game on tables for over 2 decades. The Infinity Game Board, $500. After the release of the earlier, larger freestanding table, the new 18.5-inch Infinity Game Board is built as a family-friendly way to enjoy an impressive collection of simple and familiar board games on a digital touch screen setup. Classic go-to options like Battleship, Candy Lane, Sorry, and Simon are free, while some more involved games like Pandemic and Ticket to Ride have a small price for purchase. The screen is bright and the user interface is easy to use. For the youngest set of graduates in your family, it's a fun and simple way to approximate real tactile games and build an impressive collection to switch between with ease on game night. $500 infinitygametable.com. Right, Wolverine V2, PS5 controller, D&D War Duke action figure, a lot of stuff. Moving it along. We got a Bumblebee, Ahsoka figure, $250, Star Wars. All right, Red Candle Games, page 24. This is a company about sci-fi Chinese mythology in its newest game. Detention is a side-scrolling horror game about 2 students exploring a 60s haunted high school in Taiwan. In 2019's Devotion riled up a lot of controversy with in-game art mocking China's president, Xi Jinping, calling him Winnie the Pooh, like South Park. And Devotion remained unlisted for over 2 years. Devotion. And then eventually started direct selling it in 2021 on their website. And in 9 Souls, 9 godlike rulers run a sanctuary for humans with a sinister true purpose. Yi, a cat-like hero, uncovers the reason for the sanctuary and sets out to slay the 9 rulers and free the inhabitants. Cyberpunk Taoist 2D Metroidvania with Souls-like combat, slated for release this fall. Free Steam demo is available now. 9 Souls. Alright. Then page here, 28. We got a Journey to Finish sequels 25 years later. This guy. Much like me, this guy never finished Final Fantasy X2. Weird story with me in Final Fantasy X2. Or Majora's Mask. Actually, yeah, let me tell a little bit of this story. So, I got Final Fantasy... Man, no. That was what... One time I got over on GameStop. I got a demo for I guess Metal Gear Solid 2. I had a demo. Then I went to GameStop and traded it as if it was the real game or something. But they gave me like a bunch of credit or something. Something I got over on that one. That was in my younger devious days. But anyway, Final Fantasy X2. And then I think I traded that credit to get Final Fantasy X2. Something like that, but I never finished it. But, so this guy never finished Final Fantasy X2 or Majora's Mask. So he finally played Pokemon Soul Silver in 2000. Well, a 2010 follow-up to 1998's Pokemon Red and Blue. And then Majora's Mask wasn't his favorite, but Final Fantasy X2 gave him exactly the continuation that he wanted. And encountering the same characters, Yuna ran into Final Fantasy X, but that was a pretty good experience for him. And then on page 31, we got Silent Hills. Sam Barlow was chased around by a pool. Chased around in a pool by monkeys at 5 years old. Then he became obsessed with making slightly hairy characters that run on all fours. And Shinji Mikami, behind Resident Evil and The Evil Within, says that the scariest thing for humans is other humans. And Fatal Frame co-creator has a lifetime of experiences with ghosts. And he says since a kid, he's seen and heard ghost parades. And imagination is probably one of the scariest things you can have, he says. All kind of crazy Creatures Dead Space remix, leaning big into the horror. Resident Evil 4 remake. Poor Leon right there, the masked man. Silent Hill Origins. Alright, now we got Final Fantasy 16. Okay, because every new numbered entry into the Final Fantasy series features its own lore, characters, and combat system and world. In Valisthea, special folk are born with the ability to tap into iconic powers and transform into those beings. Clive was supposed to be his family's dominant. Clive Rossfield, the protagonist of the game. But the gene passed to Josh, his younger brother. I guess that's those two right there. And then his mom hates Clive. I mean, he hates on Clive and looks down on him as a lesser. But his father sees his true potential. Josh is sickly, the younger brother. Josh is sickly and can't fully control the phoenix that's inside him. Clive becomes his protector. Josh / the phoenix is expected to battle an enemy nation over massive aether supply that the society relies on to power stuff, I'm sure. And inspired by the Game of Thrones, the game begins with 28-year-old Clive. 28-year-old Clive. He's somewhere. But 28-year-old Clive. And then the game also sees Josh transforming into Phoenix. So that's that right there. But not comfortable with it. He's not but he's not comfortable with the transformation like other dominants. There's real-time action combat like Devil May Cry, not turn-based, which is new for Final Fantasy. And Medieval Fantasy returns with the mature tone. I mean, hey, mature tone, and it looks real good. Nations of Valisthea. 6 distinct nations. Yep, I mean, looking just like Devil May Cry. A lot of Games of Thronesy stuff. Alright, moving along, we got the Immortals of Aveum. Magic shooter with Call of Duty credentials. Strictly single player with a narrative conclusion. Specialize in your combat style. Ride dragons, 25 hours of gameplay. Think of Magic and Call of Duty put together. Alright, then we got The Lies of P. P. Pinocchio. This is a Bloodborne-esque aesthetic Pinocchio inspiration. Pinocchio's interchangeable mech limbs with dark humor and multiple choice scenarios, 3 main endings. Must think extremely hard on what to say to other characters or else it'll come back to bite you. Okay, Street Fighter 6. World Tour Story Mode. Craft a custom fighter like Tobal, the old Tobal number 2, if y'all remember that. Deep cuts. Every citizen, nearly every, even school students, office workers, vendors will agree to box you up to gain XP. Kind of like Final Fight, you can serve under Chun-Li and other guys and adopt their moves as your mentor. And you can learn more about your sensei's story over time. And then there's the Extreme Battle Mode as modifiers and stipulations. Crazy mode. Everybody's loving it. Street Fighter 6 just came out. Alright, Disgaea 7. Strategy role-playing. Yeah, Disgaea 7. Strategy role-playing. Absurd level caps and weapon skills. Auto-battling. New 3D art style. 20-year anniversary since its PS2 debut. Alright, then we got Counter-Strike 2. Valve says it's the largest technical leap in Counter-Strike history. With new smoke physics, bullets now carve pockets of visibility out of the smoke, and remade and upgraded maps, moving past reliance on tick rate, whatever tick rate is. Alright, Defiant. Kills are quick, positioning, not movement, reaction time is key. Each faction facilitates a different type of player. Okay, then we got Disney Illusion Island, which is kind of Rayman Legends-esque meets Mickey Mania on Sega CD. Not broken into levels, but it's a larger interconnected map, open fast travel points, and new abilities unlock new areas, platforming Metroidvania-like, where you kind of like cover the same areas, and then you like unlock new stuff like Metroid. All right, then we got Park Beyond. This one is a new age roller coaster tycoon. Okay, then we got After Us. This is as Gaia restore life to humanity ravaged Earth. Rift of the Necromancer. This one is repairing magical musical riffs with Guitar Hero to punch out boss battles. Crime O'Clock point and click puzzle game. Time Cop investigating interconnected crimes. And then in Harmony, The Fall of Reverie, we have a choice-driven adventure game, and Polly falls into another dimension looking for her missing mom. And then in Oxenfree 2, we have environmental researcher stumbles upon a mysterious radio signal. Stray Gods, the role-playing musical. We have Grace has 3 days to convince Greek gods of her innocence of murder. Blasphemous 2. We've got challenging combat and life-death platforming. We got Super Mega Baseball 4, which has 200 baseball legends, increased customization from the old stuff. And Burns says, Jose Canseco, cut off those sideburns. I did. What are you talking about? Cut off those sideburns. I don't want to hear your lip. Oh, Burns. All right, then we got everybody's favorite new game besides Street Fighter 6. We got Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which got a 9.75. Should did this a while ago. All right, there we go. Gives players a staggering amount of agency in which they approach nearly every game instance with new methods of traversal, and the passage of time makes this appear as a new Hyrule. Ultra Hand ability, which allows Link to connect objects, combining objects to solve simple puzzles. Nearly every encounter makes you think in new ways. Okay, now we got Star Wars Jedi Survivor, a step up from Fallen Order in almost every way. Now a full-fledged Jedi Knight with excellent combat and dueling, several unique planets to visit, and developer analyzed what worked and what didn't in the last game. In MLB The Show 23, we have, while a real-life MLB continues to evolve to encourage faster play, to appeal to broader audience, new storylines show the history of baseball. Yeah, so I hear like baseball on TV is like an hour shorter or something now. That's what I hear. I used to work at the Ranger Stadium, and those games go long, and then especially like at the last innings, once it goes into overtime and everything, that's when you really get your cake up right there, because everybody wants to see their team win and get faded. But like, you know, they cut off. No. I bet that's football, but in baseball they cut off the beer. So like you get to go home, but if the game goes long, people would be getting extra faded, but they cut it off though. So I mean, it is what it is. I haven't done that in a good 4 years. But anyway, Redfall, biggest disappointment of 2023, says Game Informer. Vampire hunting first-person shooter is messy, plagued with technical flaws and head-scratching design decisions. So much wasted potential. Got a 5 out of 10. And I didn't say, but 8.75 on the MLB The Show 23 and 9.25 on Star Wars Jedi Survivor. All right, Dead Island 2. Third team to work on Dead Island 2 since 2014. Long time coming. A good hook moves you through LA's different districts, customize different weapons. It's got a serviceable story, plenty zombies to murk you in fun ways. Got a 7.75. Excellent art on that thing though. Excellent art. All right, now we got Darkest Dungeon 2. Cruel game, no checkpoints in the 2 to 3 hour game. Create a party of 4 distinct heroes with turn-based battles. And you got to use synergy. When white gauge is complete, you can have a meltdown, losing most of your HP. And then there's There's an affinity system that shows how your party gets along with other. How like it gets along with each other, and that one got an 8.5. And in Minecraft Legends, Mahjong is trying to take Minecraft in a bold new direction into an open world real-time strategy game where you gather resources, build defenses, summon mercenaries. Often feels at odds with itself, but it's solid though with a 7 out of 10. Alright, then we got Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp. It's got a new cartoon style 20 years later, this time, and you control different CEOs from different nations. So each mission requires a thoughtful approach. Not much new material, but it's not needed as this game still is clocking in at an 8.5. Then we got Strayed Lights, got an 8. Parry required combat system, big boss fights in this thing, got an 8. And then Horizon Forbidden West, Burning Shores, got an 8. Brings a satisfying close to the main campaign. Okay, Terra Nil got a 7.5. New twist on the sim genre. And then EA Sports PGA Tour got a 6. I'm not sure if it wants to rival 2K's realism or stick to its arcade zany roots. Alright, then we got Tron Identity with a unique structure. Tron fans should really appreciate it. Got a 7. And I wish I could see myself in this game. Hey, look at character creation and diversity. So this one is talking about, of course, pretty much like in Mass Effect or Fallout, you might not be able to get true afro hair, but hopefully in the future you'll be always able to customize your guys how you want to. And Street Fighter 6 lets you change your face to the smallest details. But before we get to that, we got to bring up this Uncle Ruckus, lifelike Uncle Ruckus. Don't trust them new ninjas with their fingers on the triggers. Don't trust them new ninjas over there. Alright, yeah, Street Fighter 6 lets you control your characters with all kind of crazy proportions, and it lets you get the face exactly like you want it. It's wild. To the most minute of details. And then Final Fantasy logo creation for part 16 only took 2 or 3 days. They only required a Phoenix and an Ifrit. And starting back from Final Fantasy 1, they've always looked very cool with the neon colors and the black simple text. Good stuff. Alright, that's been Game Informer 356 Final Fantasy 16. Follow your games. Check me out next month for the next Game Informer. Like, comment, subscribe. Holla at your guy.